Today we're going to be talking about the real reasons that people leave Naples, Florida. So we all know the reasons that people move to Naples, Florida. A lot of times people will vacation in Naples. Maybe they've vacationed for most of their life, and it's always been their dream to move to Naples, Florida when they retire. We all know the things you love about Naples, but as I always say on my channel, brochure living is not real life living. And I like to share with you on my channel real life living, because if you're going to make a decision like moving to a new area, you have to know the good and the bad. Everything is not brochure life. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the main reasons that people really do leave Naples, Florida. Now, let me share with you, I used to live in Naples, Florida. I moved from Naples, Florida for many of these reasons. Now, granted, I moved about, 20 minutes outside of Naples into Estero, Florida, but there's many things about Estero that I like much, much better than Naples, Florida. And that's probably a whole new video. If you're interested in hearing that, let me know down in comments and I'll get to work on that for you. But today we're going to be talking about the real life reasons that people choose to leave Naples, Florida. All right, now listen, before we jump into this, I want to say that these are my opinions and then also the opinions of many 26 plus years worth of buyers and sellers that I have worked with throughout my career. So this is kind of a collaboration of these opinions. Now, your particular opinion, you may live in Naples right now, and you might not agree with any of what I'm saying, which is okay. You can feel free to let everybody know down in comments. We will all see it, and that's all part of a healthy discussion because it's good for everybody to know the good and the bad. So if I'm telling you things that I don't love and that many of my clients have not loved, but you have something that you see differently or a solution to what we're talking about, we're all ears. We want to hear it. All right, so the first one, healthcare. Many people leave because of the healthcare. They find that the healthcare is very hit and miss. So there's something in Southwest Florida, and really I've noticed all over Florida, called concierge medicine. And basically what it is you pay a cover charge to get more personal care from your doctor, more preferential treatment, I would put it, from your doctor. So you pay this cover charge, and I've seen it as low as $5,000 for the year. I've seen it as high as $150,000 for the year. So you get a personal phone number, and every doctor's office is different. Every doctor handles this differently, but generally speaking, you get a personal phone number that you can reach them more easily. They're going to respond to you. You get preferred appointments where if the doctor is completely booked, they will bump somebody. Yes, they will. So you could be Mary Smith and you're not on concierge, and you've got an appointment that you've been waiting for 6 months for this heart doctor, and somebody that has paid the concierge fee come in from New York. They come for 3 months during season and they bump you on an appointment you've been waiting for 6 months. My opinion, I can't stand that. I don't like that. I don't believe in that. That is something that many people have discovered regarding healthcare in Florida that they don't like either. Something about it just doesn't feel right. Also, it's very seasonal. Really in defense of the hospitals and the doctor's offices, it is hard, especially in Naples, because it is seasonal, and very much more so down towards downtown Naples. That's going to be your most seasonal area. Outside of that area, North Naples and the surrounding area, that has become a little bit more full-time, but it's still very seasonal. So the hospitals, they have trouble with staffing, and it's very common that they'll close entire wings, that they'll bring people from out of the country over on the other coast, have them come over for a month, put them up in housing. It's just really hard for them to gauge how many people are going to be there and how many people aren't. This season alone, what we just went through at the end of 2023, particularly hard because the real estate market is having trouble. There's just less people coming into town. Right now, we're in the off season. That's where you see that drop off, and they never know how much of a drop off there's going to be. It is not uncommon to have an 8-10 hour wait in the ER. It is also not uncommon to have to wait 6 months or more for a specialist. So a heart doctor might be 6 to 9 months. Well, if you're having trouble, you can't wait that long. And if you're having trouble, you also can't fly home. And really that's the tip of the iceberg. I'm not even going to go into billing, double billing. There's a lot of problems, in my opinion, with the healthcare. Now, I will say that if you live in Naples and you have it available to you, you could try Lee Health. In my opinion, that's a little bit better. You could also, if you're up for it, you could head all the way out to where you get into the Sarasota Memorial System, healthcare system. I almost never hear people complaining about the doctors once they're able to get in there. So there's things you could do if you're up for it, but for the most part, when somebody is sick and they want to go to the doctor, they don't want to drive an hour to go do that. Number 2, too many second home situations where you don't really have the same neighbors month over month, year over year. Many people are renting their properties, even if they're renting for 3 months or 6 months. You have a lot of turnover of neighbors. You never quite feel rooted because so many people utilize the area as more of a vacation spot or a second home for them, and maybe they only come in January and February. So you never really get to know your neighbors and lay down any roots in the community. You always feel like somebody is going home wherever home is, and a lot of people have trouble feeling like Naples, Florida is their home. It feels very transient to a lot of people. Number 3, a lack of jobs that pay enough to sustain a living in Naples, Florida. Because the cost of living has gone through the roof, because expenses are so high now, whether you're in a condo or you're in a home, the cost has gone up very, very quickly. So it puts people in a position where they need to find a job that will pay enough to at least give them a break point, a break-even point. If you're not in the medical field, you are going to have quite a hard time finding any job out there that will pay you enough to pay your rent, to pay your mortgage. There's just not a lot of those types of jobs. People that tend to do well, if you're an attorney, you're probably going to be able to find a job. If you are in the medical field, you're a doctor, even a nurse, you're probably going to be able to find a job. The problem is, even my doctor clients have switched gears, course corrected, and not end up not moving to Naples, Florida, even though they had a job offer, because the housing was so expensive. They didn't even find it to be affordable. If you're not a really high paid premier surgeon, I can tell you I have worked with 2 chiropractors, a podiatrist, 2 dentists, all of these people that you would think, okay, they're probably paid pretty well. They could not find housing that they felt was affordable for their family and their lifestyle and what they were looking for, so they ended up not coming to Florida. Once again, creating that problem that we have with healthcare. If it's not affordable for a doctor or a dentist or a chiropractor, who's it affordable for? I know it's affordable for the attorneys. Number 4, if you are coming to Naples, Florida because you love boating, listen, you better bring the big wallet, because first of all, you're going to have a heck of a time finding anywhere to house your boat. There is very, very, very little in terms of accessibility for a boat slip. There's almost nothing, whether it's in water or dry dock, almost nothing. Now, if you get lucky and you find somewhere, be prepared to pay very, very top dollar. I'm going to give you an example. I'll give you an example. I just recently had a couple that wanted to move to Naples, Florida from Minnesota. So we looked around, we found the house that they want. They knew that they weren't going to be able to house their boat behind the house because in Naples, that's just, I mean, you're talking about 7-8 figures, every bit of it, to do that. So they knew that they were going to need to find some kind of boat slip to work for them. We lucked out and we were able to find one that would work for their boat. Ideally, it was not exactly what they wanted, but they decided they were going to go ahead and dry dock it because they couldn't find anything that they could put in water. The cost for their 28-foot boat, which is pretty average for a boat, was $1,300 a month. They could not believe it. They said in Minnesota, where they live, they were paying $400. They could not believe it. And it wasn't even what they wanted, and it was farther away than they wanted to be. So if you're a boater and you're thinking about moving to Naples, Florida because you want to boat, that should be the first thing you look into is there somewhere you can put your boat? Because there is almost nowhere. So many people, predominantly from the Northeast, brought their boats down and they took up all of the boat slips and the dry dock spots. So they didn't even have places to live. They just knew they were going to come down and rent. And the first thing they did was lock in their boat. We haven't had anywhere for boats for a very long time. And then the last one is pretty much the obvious, just the cost that has gone through the roof. When you go in knowing that somewhere is going to be expensive, that's okay. But what many people don't expect is maybe a double, triple jump of what their expectations are. Many times I have folks that I will consult with and they'll tell me, they'll say, I don't want my hold cost to be more than, with outside of the mortgage, more than $12,000 a year or more than $15,000 a year. Well, if that $12,000 or $15,000 becomes $25,000, that can swing someone's budget to where it's no longer affordable. That's a big reason that people turn around and go the other direction, because when one thing goes up, that's one thing. But when everything is going up across the board, all of a sudden your numbers will double or even triple. So lately here, the last year or so, people have been leaving because the expense is just so high that they truly can't afford, with all the other factors, the inability to pick up another job, they just can't make it a nice life. So those are the top reasons that people choose to leave Naples, Florida. As always, my contact information is below. Book some time with me and let's make sure that we find the right spot for you here in Florida.